Hello. Welcome to July 1st. And I think I read a couple days ago, Mercury retrograde is here. And it definitely is because I'm continuing to have issues with technology. And so the ad I posted for this event did funky things on Facebook, so I pretty much knew it was not going to work. So I hate to do this, but I'm going to go live on Facebook on my phone, which means the text is going to be like micro small. But I know I've got people on Facebook who want... We'll see if this works now. But I hope everyone's well. You might notice I'm in a different background. And plus, even though it appears I am streaming on YouTube, it won't let me text in the chat, which lovely, so lovely. But that sort of has been my... Ooh, okay, so let's see. So we're going to go live there. All right. So almost, and then we'll get to it, right? All right, it says it's starting a live broadcast. So but broadcast failed. Please check your internet. Oh, that's annoying. You know, it's always something, right? It says I've got 3 bars for internet. So I'm going to try one more time and then we'll get started. But if you are new here, this is my monthly mini healing. I do it on the 1st of each month. And we do individual healing, releasing trapped emotions. We do energy work, a tool that I created called the Healing Pulse. We do aura strengthening. I'm going to talk a little bit about good luck, bad luck button, just because I've had that issue this past week, and it took a long time for me to realize that some things were flip-flopped. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, just because. So I was a little distracted and did not notice that my good luck and bad luck were both flipped. So that was fabulous. Oh, I don't think Facebook is going to work. Tap to add a description when I have a description. So technology, fabulous. So I'm seeing some familiar names. Oh, itchy nose, sorry. So if you notice a different background for me, it is because I am at my family's house. This is actually my great-grandfather's original home. And I'm in the front porch, which has like a log home background. And the outside has log homes, but this is the only room in the house with log homes on the inside. And this is this little love seat is a couch I bought in the 80s, I think, 90s, a long time ago. And I think I'm the only one that uses it because most of the time the house is, no one's using it. So we're down here visiting my parents, and my sister and her family are visiting from Washington State. And those you know me, with aging parents, this summer I've been spending a lot more time here. So that's sort of what's going on with me. So, but it seems like people are sort of quiet. Can you hear me? Can you put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me on YouTube? Because that would be just my luck if I'm sitting here chatting away and no one can hear me. Oh, good. Yeah, because on my end, ooh, lots of 1s. Thank you. I appreciate that. So on my end, it says we're recording, and I can see my voice fluctuate on the microphone. But as I know from past experience, it doesn't always work with these streaming services. So fabulous. I'm glad you are able to hear me. So let's start with our first healing pulse. Let me just move a little. Sorry, it's really sticky and warm. And of course, there is no central air. There is a window air conditioner that has not been put in because nobody else has used the house but me. So it's a little warm today. Yes. So they say ladies glisten and others sweat. Well, I'm pretty much sweating right now. But so glad to be here with you guys. So let's do our first healing pulse. Typically we do 3. So we're going to think about where you want to receive the energy, because you're going to guide where the energy goes. And so if you have a particular pain or discomfort, that is a perfect place to guide the energy. If you feel a particular emotion or you've got anxiety, where does that live within you? For instance, for me, anxiety is often in the pit of my stomach. So if that's my biggest issue today, that's where I'm going to put my hands. Otherwise, if you don't really have a place to send the energy, I would send to my heart or my head. So I want you to rub your hands together and place your hands exactly where you want to receive the energy. And just allow the energy to flow. Imagine my hands on yours. And with each breath in, the healing goes a little deeper. With each breath out, you are releasing. So in is healing, out is releasing. And so just allow that energy. For some of you, you won't really experience anything. But I do believe the energy still flows. For others, you might feel tingles or warmth in your hands. And for a few people, you maybe will see colors, or every once in a while I'll get someone that gets visions, which is very cool. So just allow those energies to flow. Okay. So that was our first healing pulse. Let me know how you did. And then I am starting to, sorry, my Facebook page is still just spinning around. Sort of crazy. So that's still loading. I think I'm going to turn that off because it's just distracting. That's too bad. But for those of you who have been here before, when we have tech issues, usually I try and do something extra because of it. Oh, I'm just noticing over my head. Look at this. This is it's upside down. My dad used to be quite the fisher person. So when he worked for county social services, we got him this one Father's Day to put in his office many, many moons ago. But pretty funny. So I'm looking through, I think. Ooh, look out for Tug. She's untethered. That is fabulous. Fabulous. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody. So we're going to start out with Lily. Lily's got procrastination on what she wants to work on. And so if anyone wants to put what they want to work on, I will get started. So let's see. We're going to look for underlying reasons. Usually I look for an emotional theme. And so I find what's called a trapped emotion and the age. And then, so we work on releasing that. And then I find a positive emotion to replace it. Let's see what that will be. Okay, I like this for Lily. So Lily, I'm getting the energy of unsupported around age 26. And so ages are the hardest thing, so it's plus or minus a year. So 25, 26, 27. And so unsupported, this could be unsupported by family, friends, relationship, boss, coworkers, or it could be you feel unsupported by the universe. Sorry, I've got a fan going and there's one hair that's like hitting my nose. Oh, comedy of errors. So we're going to release and remove the energy of unsupported from you. And so Lily, this plays a role in your procrastination. Although I do think there's more layers to it, but I'm hoping this helps you. And so what we're going to do is we'll release this, and then we're going to replace it with the energy of forceful, which I really like that because that makes me think that you're pretty determined to get things done and not procrastinate. So I like that. And so for those of you who have healing in your background, I would love for you to support your own healing by releasing the trapped emotion of whatever comes up for you. If you don't have healing in the background, it's basically the same as setting an intention or saying a prayer. So like Lily, if you don't have healing in your background, you're going to say a little prayer that you want to release the energies of unsupported from when you were about 28, because we're looking at an event or a time period about then. So I'm going to tune in and release unsupported. And then we're going to instill the energy of forceful. Okay. And I know you guys have started writing. So I'm going to go back. Got Lily. Oh, and there's Beth. Nick. Oh. And it looks like there's supposed to be things on the screen. I don't really see that, of course. So let me see. Just because sometimes it's nice to see what other people are writing on the screen. We'll see if that works. Okay. But then again, I've got my sister's laptop. The screen is like 15.6, so it's smaller than what I'm used to. But I'm so appreciative that she let me do this. All right, so Nick asked for a weird feeling that suddenly comes on to go and be gone for good. Dark and heaviness needs to go. Okay, so dark, heavy. Release. So we'll look to see what's holding that there. And Emphatha, open up to the good that's coming. Okay. All right, I'm going to just write down everybody on the list. Okay, Miriam, nerve, pain in feet. That is not good. You need them. So I'm hoping you're using the healing pulse for those, Miriam. And then we'll see if there's anything anchoring it in. Crystalline, GERD. All right. Okay. Rose petals. Procrastination. Viking gray wolf. Knots. And upper thigh, backside. That sounds painful. Oh, and there's Denise. Welcome, Denise. I'm just writing down. Oh, there you go. Right hip. So you've got right hip and tightness. And then sadness. So I'll see if they're related. Otherwise, we'll focus on at least on one of them. Okay. So Next, we're going to work on Empatha. She wants to be open to good that's coming. So let's see if there's something from her past or present that's causing her not to be as open. And I still don't see. Okay, I think I got it this time. Let's see. Problem is, I should have hooked up the mouse to the new one here. Let's see if that works now. But probably not, just because that's the way it is. Oh, thank you, Colette. Yes, because I'm a little distracted. Comment above Denise. And on this little screen, it sort of scrolls through. Ooh, I missed a few people. Thank you. So let me go back. Okay, so I've got Lily and Batha, Miriam. Ooh, Tug of Light. So Tug, left shoulder. Yes, if I don't say your name, please either repost or let me know that you posted. Although, because I don't have my mouse with me, it's a little harder to scroll. But left shoulder, still limited mobility, but the pain is better. That is fabulous, Tug. But we need to definitely get your mobility up. And they could be caused by different things. All right. Scene. Denise. Okay, so Colette, I looked at Denise. Let me go all the way to the top. So there's Colette saying hello, Summer. Then the next one I see for you just says my comment above Denise. I don't see it on my screen. Colette, can you retype it for me? Oh, and there's Susie. Dog was diagnosed with protein loss in trophy. Am I saying that right? He's in a study. In remission on the diet provided. Skin has become reactive. Oh. All right, so Susie. So I will write down your dog. What's your dog's name? So we're looking at skin reactivity. I don't know if you've got someone that does animal communication for you, Susie. I've got a couple people. There's one that I use mainly for nutrition, and we talk a lot about foods and sensitivities, and she is very helpful, and she's pretty affordable. So let me know if you want that contact information, because sometimes it's hard to know. Oh, and Empatha, I did get Nick, dark heavy release. Oh, rocket. I like that. Entropathy. Okay. So I will also ask if that is playing a role with the skin reactivity or the drugs. Okay. Thank you, Colette, for that. All right, so Susie, I will look up the gal's name. Patty is her name. Like my dogs currently eat kibble, dry kibble, which I know isn't the best, but it's what I've got the funds for. But they focus. The one dog has like chicken and some other allergies, so we've been eating a dog food with salmon and what is it? Salmon and sweet potato, I think it is. So I'll put that in the. Well, I can't put it in the chat, but if I say it out loud, could someone type it in the chat for me? Yeah, for some reason it won't let me. Okay, so Colette, thank you for retyping. Hot flashes. Oh, I imagine they are awful in the heat wave. So 20 years. So there was it cortisol I was reading? Sometimes that triggers, or is that something else? Ladies, do you know, is high cortisol, is that a trigger for hot flashes? Because it's all about that self. Sure, Crystalline, you can put that in the chat, but we want to make sure that Susie gets someone that can help with the nutrition and look and see if there's sensitivities to the medication or the food, or if there's something else. So, and sometimes my friend gives me referrals back saying this is more of a healing thing because I do healing on pets, but typically I work on that through email. So let me just see while I'm thinking about it. So, because it's my friend Patty who has written a book about being a pet psychic, and I can't seem to type on my sister's computer. And I met her for the first time over, I think it was Memorial Day weekend. We met for lunch. I've known her maybe 5 years. And she was always somewhere else. And now she lives, I think, like 5 hours away from me. Okay, I'm getting closer. Part of it's, her keyboard feels so different than me. Okay, Patty Pet Psychic. Patty, Patty, petpsychic.com. So if someone could type that in for me, I would really appreciate it. Okay. I think I've got everybody down. So let me tell you who I've got down. Lily, Emphatha, Nick, Miriam, Crystalline, Rose Petals, Viking Greywolf, Denise, Tug, Susie, Colette. So if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. If you could please put your information in the chat again. All right. So Emphatha is next, wanting to be open to good that's coming. Let's see. So I do get that there is some blocks. All right. And Emphatha said, sorry for the spaces. So I'm thinking you're typing the pattypetpsychic.com, but I'm not seeing it on my screen. Does anyone else see it? Did it not go through? All right. And sometimes I just get a little crabby because it does say that there is. There we go. Let's hope I didn't mess it up. Tech is very weird right now. Okay, so Beth, I've got a trapped emotion that's playing a role. Let me just get an age for you. Okay, so Beth, I'm getting an event around age 36. And so 35, 36, 37, somewhere in there. And it's the energy of panic. And so we're going to remove that and we're going to replace it with the energy of united. And so I like that because we're releasing panic, which can also cause some anxiety about the goodness. And removing that helps your body, mind, soul, and spirit to be united to the good that's coming. So let's go ahead and release panic. Okay, so that's released. And then we're going to reinforce united. Tech is so crazy because Susie said she typed it too. Thank you both for doing that. That is just annoying. But Patty, petpsychic.com. Okay. So we'll do Nick and then we'll do our second healing pulse. Oh, that's so weird. Let's see if things have changed for me because when I started, I couldn't type it all. Well, I can type it, but it won't let me hit enter to submit so you guys can see it. Patty Pet. Although, I'm going to say YouTube only. Oh, it let me do. Now watch, I put a typo in it or something because that's sort of my MO these days. Patty Pet Psychic. I think I got it right. So can everyone see my typing? Oh. And Empatha says, when I said 36 panic, she was pregnant with her son at that point. Interesting. All right, so let's get Nick done and then we'll do. So Nick has an inherited trapped emotion that is playing a role in that dark, heavy energy. Let's see what it is. So I'm getting taken for granted. So let's see where it started from. So Empatha, this is from your side of the family. Let's see, because it didn't start with you. So let's see, did it start with your parents? Yes. So mom, dad. So dad at some point thought he felt taken advantage of. Let's see how old he was when this happened. He was like 29. And so sometimes, people appear to have healed and moved on, but if that energy is still within them, they can pass things down. And it doesn't always affect everyone. So we're going to focus on healing from the entire bloodline, whoever is affected. Because if your dad had other kids, and they had kids, people could be affected. And the funny thing is, Mpatha, I'm not showing that you have this. It was able to skip you, but it did get to Nick. So we're going to hone in to that energy of taken for granted from your family's bloodline and release and remove. Yeah, isn't that sad that he had a big heart but got stiffed? Yeah. And so this is a time where he felt really betrayed by it. So releasing and removing. And then I need to find Nick's, what we're going to replace it with. Oh, actually, we're going to send this to your whole family that needs it. And it's the energy of invincible. So we're going to instill invincible in Nick and Nick's entire bloodline that's affected. I like that one. I think that sounds really good. So we're going to do the next healing pulse, but the next 4 people are Miriam, Crystalline, Rose Petals, and Viking Grey Wolf. And so we'll be back in a moment for the individual healing. But let's do our second healing pulse. So think about, do you want to send the energy to the same place? You might want to adjust your hands. So tune in and see, especially if you're dealing with pain, because sometimes you chase the pain. So you might have to adjust your hands. So keep that in mind. Or you might feel you want to send it somewhere else. And so that's perfectly fine. So place your hands after rubbing them together. And place your hands exactly where you want to receive the energy. Imagine my hands on yours. And just allow the energy to flow. So like right now, my hands are all tingly and warm. And I can just feel the energy flowing with each breath in. The energy is going a little deeper, a little further. With each breath out, you are releasing. Releasing and removing. If you do breath work, this is a perfect instance where you can do breath work as the healing is going in and then you're releasing too. Okay, so that was our second healing pulse. Let me know how you did. So next we're going to do Miriam. She's got nerve pain in her feet. So Miriam, I'm curious, does the healing pulse help the nerve pain? Or is it one of those things where it helps it a little and then it comes back? So with the healing pulse, it goes to like the energy of the pain, the discomfort, or if it's like an emotion, it goes to the emotion. But if there's not enough energy to deal with the root cause, it typically comes back, and stress will bring it back sooner. If there's enough energy to do both the issue and the root cause, then typically it won't come back. But especially the older you get, if you have not dealt with things, unfortunately things come back. And so that might be a sign maybe you need a session with me and we'll look at other root causes. So in my toolbox, I've got about 30 tools that I use to find root causes. And I do a lot of focusing on emotional trauma. So let's see. Okay, almost ready for you, Miriam. Okay. All right, so Miriam said the healing pulse does help. Ooh, and Susie said the second healing pulse felt much stronger. Thank you. So generally, when we typically do 3 pulses, the second and the third pulse are the strongest. So that's good. Thank you for the feedback, everybody. So Miriam, I'm getting unworthy around age 18. So 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there, unworthy. So we're going to release that. And then we're going to instill within you the energy of united. And so when I think about that, so it makes me think there's some type of separation. And it makes me wonder if the separation sort of triggered the pain in your feet. So let's go ahead and release unworthy. And then we're going to instill energy of united. And whatever was separate, we're going to meld it together for its highest good only. So if there's pieces that are like not great, we don't have to meld those. But if there's pieces that will make everything stronger, better, healthier, that's what we want to focus on in United. Okay. All right. So I'm getting that released, and United is instilled. All right. So next is crystalline. Got GERD. So I'm getting panic. Let me get an age. All right. So, crystalline, I'm getting panic. But the concern is that it's when you were 6. So like 5, 6, 7, something in there. And so oftentimes I say when trapped emotions come up when you're a little kid, sometimes it's not really yours. Or if it is yours, sometimes it's because, I mean, you were 6. You don't really, well, I would say most 6-year-olds do not understand adult issues. And so the panic might have been real. You just didn't understand it or know how to deal with it. Or it might have been someone close to you, a family member that really was in a state of panic. And because you were so close to them, you absorbed and shared their trapped emotion. So Because when I tune in, I'm not really getting that this is yours, but it really affected you at a young age. And so that is a piece of the GERD. So let's get rid of that, because especially with it not really being yours and sort of like you adopted it because of proximity. So let's go ahead and release and remove. Releasing panic. And then we're going to instill within you the energy of focus. So instilling and strengthening focused. And oftentimes I get like a little story in my head with the positive emotions, but with yours, Crystalline, I get mainly to focus on you. So I'm just curious, is that because the energy wasn't really hers? So, yeah, so really focus on you. All right. Coming up, we've got Rose Petals, Viking Grey Wolf, and Denise. All right, so Rose Petals also wants to work on procrastination. So let's see what's playing a role with her. So I'm just checking because the thing I'm getting for you, Rose, is it seems familiar to me. So I'm just seeing if this has come up on previous months, but I think it came up somewhere else. Maybe not. Maybe I'm making it up, but you are welcome, Crystalline. So let's see. Let me get an age for this. And then get your positive. All right. So Rose, I'm getting unsupported around age 16. And so at that age, so 15, 16, 17, was there something you wanted to be or do that you felt sort of shut down? So you couldn't do what you wanted, or you couldn't do it in the way you wanted. Ooh, and Rose wrote back right away, life stopped. Definitely. So let's get rid of that, because that is still playing a role today, that energy of not being supported. So, ooh, just got chills. So let's get rid of the unsupported, and then you're going to like this. At least I think you're going to like it. I think it's cool. So the positive word I got for you, Rose, was unique. And especially, so our Rose is quite the entrepreneur. And I think to be an entrepreneur and unique means you have what no one else has. So you just need to figure out how to promote yourself and what unique offerings you have. So let's release unsupported. Oh, wow, Rose. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was that time. That would shut down everything. Wow. So releasing unsupported. And then we're going to instill and strengthen that quality of being unique and it being a positive thing. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing with the group that. That's very personal. Okay. Next, we've got Viking Grey Wolf, and then we've got Denise, Tug, Susie, and Colette. So let's see. Viking Grey Wolf has knots in upper thigh and backside. And then after this, we'll do our next healing pulse, and then we'll do our last 4. And I want to talk about good luck, bad luck, and why I have had quite the week. And it's only Wednesday. So let's see. Okay. All right, almost done Viking. So I'm getting the energy of invigorated. I like that. But a little ahead of myself, I didn't tell you what we're releasing. We're releasing the energy of vulnerability around age 19. So 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there. So we're going to release that. And we're going to instill within you invigorated. And I think part of this is your weakness in your upper thigh and backside shows a vulnerability. Allowing that to leave makes you invigorated. I like that very much. Yes, Rose, I think unique is a very good word. Okay, so let's do our third healing pulse. When we come back, we've got Denise, Tug, Susie, and Colette. And then we'll talk about good luck, bad luck. And then I'll do a short little commercial. And then we'll do aura strengthening too. Because especially lots of chaos in the world. So let's do that third healing pulse. So think about where you want to receive the energy because, as I said, sometimes pain and discomfort or other trapped emotions move and shift. So when you place your hands, you want to make sure you're getting the best location. So I want you to rub your hands together and place your hands exactly where you want to receive the energy. Imagine my hands on yours and just breathe that energy in and just allow the energy to flow. So breathe in deeply and then release what needs to be let go. Or maybe it's not even yours. Breathe that in and out. In and out. In and out. And just allow that to flow. Okay, that was our third healing pulse. So what do you think? Which pulse was the strongest? So I often think sometimes the first one, people, especially new, they don't always know what it feels like. But by the second one, they're a little bit more open to what to expect. And so sometimes that shift in being open opens the floodgates. So the second one is the deepest feeling. But other times it's more of a building where the first one's okay. The second one grows. And then the third one, it's like, wow. So let me know, 1, 2, or 3. What did you think was the most? All right, so Denise, right hip tightness, and then she also has sadness. So I'm going to just check, are these related? No. Are we better working with the right hip or the sadness? So let's see. Right hip, sadness. So we're going to work with the right hip. So let's see what comes up for that. Almost done. So Rose says the third one. Susie said the third one. Wonderful. So it used to be, because the healing pulse is my creation. When I first started doing it, after a mini healing, I'd say, okay, you've got a little baggie. And back then I was doing weekly mini healings, and I would say, here's your little baggie of mini healings. Go forth and prosper and use them. So if that helps you, feel free to pull in the healing pulse energies, because it doesn't affect me. I have set it up so it pulls from source, but I've asked source to duplicate the frequencies so it doesn't drain my energy. Okay. All right. So Denise, we're going to release insecurity around age 13. I think that's a prime age to be insecure. And teens and preteens can be so mean. So we're going to release that. And then we're going to instill within you the energy of being virile. And think about being strong and vibrant. Viking Grey Wolf, you are very welcome. So let's release insecurity. Denise. And then we're going to instill in you that sense of virility and strength. And so virile also reminds me of invigorated. So I think like Viking Grey Wolf, you could also use the word virile too, just because they're such a similar meaning as far as your body gets reinvigorated or your body turns to be a more virile body. Because especially when you're dealing with pain and discomfort, and body parts just aren't functioning the way they should, you're sort of limited on how it functions. So, all right. Next, we've got tug. All right, so tug, left shoulder, limited mobility. Pain has lessened, which is fabulous, but that mobility is an issue. So we're going to see. So is anyone doing anything fun over the 4th of July for everyone in the U.S.? I know we've got at least one Canadian here, but yeah. Okay, Tug. I'm getting indecisiveness around age 26. So like 25, 26, 27, somewhere in there, indecisiveness. So I don't know if this was like a major decision around that time or if it was a period of time where you had a hard time making choices for anything. You know, sometimes things just get super hard. But we're going to release that. And this is a really nice matchup. We're going to add the energy of flowing. So instead of being indecisive, where things are stopped and have limited mobility, we're going to make things so they flow. All right, so let's release indecisiveness. Ooh, thank you, Denise, for saying that and sharing. That's very cool. Love it when that happens. All right, and then we're going to instill flowing for Tug. Okay. Next, we've got Susie and her dog Rocket. So he's got entropathy on a special trial, but really super bad skin reactivity. So I'm going to focus on what's the most important thing to work on right now. And we're going to focus on the skin reactivity, which is sort of what I had hoped. So let's see. Because animals can get trapped emotions the same as people. They can also absorb trapped emotions from their little families. You know, I know this was a while ago. I was struggling, and my dog had pancreatitis and died. And 6 months later, I had pancreatitis, and I think she got it because of me, because she was working on helping me heal myself. But yeah, it was a horrible thing. So let's see what comes up for Rocket. So, Susie, I don't know how long you've had Rocket, but I'm getting this was when Rocket was a puppy. So I don't know if how long you've had Rocket. But I assume, is Rocket a he? Maybe that's sexist for me to say. Because women can be rockets too, right? But I do get the impression maybe Rocket's a boy. But if not, the energy is going to go to the name. So I'm getting the energy of lost when Rocket was a puppy. So I don't know if this was after birth, before, because especially if you adopted Rocket. So I think this might have been the transition where Rocket didn't really understand, especially, that separation between, dog families and then going on to their human. Okay. And so Susie says 7 years, adopted at 4 months, from surrender to vet. Yes, male. Okay. So somewhere before you got Rocket, he felt lost. And sometimes it's during that separation between, the dog family. Especially you see all your little puppy dog um, brothers and sisters going to new homes, or you know some of them sadly are dumped along the side of the road, um, or worse. um, so we need to release that energy of being lost. But I really love the positive emotion that came up that we're going to instill, and it's being valued. um, and this is not a reflection on you, Susie. This is a reflection on what Rocket experienced before he came to you, and it that energy just became trapped. So we're going to release that energy of lost, and we're going to instill within him that he is so valued and so loved. So let's release and remove the energy of lost. And then we're going to instill being valued. Okay. So Susan Snyder, I'm going to add you. Okay, so Colette's having hot flashes. She has for like 20 plus years. So it's most likely not a female issue. This is so annoying. And I know my body has done this too. And then all of a sudden it just stopped. And I don't know what I did to stop it, is the problem. So, but let's see. So for Colette, I want to see, is there a trapped emotion that's contributing to this? And I do get yes. So let's find out what that is. Although I do get this is a number of layers of things that combine to make it happen. So sitting here, it's sort of weird, because this house, I remember, from my grandparents and then my parents. But I'm sitting here and I've got a dog on each side, and it's sort of hot. So I'm not sure if I really appreciate them snuggling, but I think they're lending support to the healing today. Okay, I like this for you, Colette. All right, so with this, I've been using a list that has about 60 trapped emotions, all negative. There's one that some people might consider a positive emotion, but it is truly a negative emotion. It's the emotion of overjoy. And so I'm showing that, Colette, you have overjoy from around age 19. And so 18, 19, 20. And so overjoy is when you get so excited that it's almost a negative, and it affects you deep down in a negative way. And so we're going to release that. And then we're going to instill within you the word vital. And I also want to instill vitality, because I think the hot flashes take away that feeling of vitality. So let's release and remove overjoy. And with overjoy, oftentimes it's like an event or like a time period that's fairly small. So we're going to just release and remove overjoy. So releasing. And then we're going to instill within you a vital. Okay, let me see. So Tug just posted we had decisiveness, changed to flowing. So she said time revolving around her marriage, kept butting up to the same indecisiveness. He's not her spiritual counterpart, and don't know if he ever will support her energetically. I'm sorry. That's hard. That's really hard. So, because some people are a good fit, but not for all areas. So, that's hard. All right. So, next, I've got Anne Marie, and then I've got Susan Snide. So, Anne Marie is looking for confidence and strength. So, I'm going to see, because there are things that are making that less. And I've got indecisiveness. I'm looking to see, is that sort of our word for today? We get an age. And let me get the positive. Okay, Anne Marie, I really like this one for you. So we're going to release indecisiveness, and this was around the age of 56. So 55, 56, 57. So we're going to release that. But your word is invincible. And I love this for you. So let's release and remove indecisiveness. Strengthen invincible. Next, Susan Snide, and I want to look and see. Plus, people have commented too. Let me just see what I missed. So Susie said, now Susie, we worked on her dog Rocket. So I had feeling lost as a puppy. And she said, you were spot on, Summer. Thank you. The family that chose him discovered they could not do a dog. He was surrendered to my veterinarian friend because he got out of the yard and was lost for a day. Oh, the poor little dude. I'm really hoping this helps him, because a lot of times trap emotions help with how your body functions, your immune system, things like that. It can interfere. And part of it depends on where the trapped emotion has lived. And so sometimes amazing things can happen releasing trapped emotions. Other times trapped emotions are layered in, so there needs to be more. All right, and then Colette says, because Colette had overjoyed. So it sounds like she's going to think about what overjoyed was. And so I'm going to go back. So Susan Snide, was talking about her cat. Julius keeps peeing outside the litter box. Can you tell me why? You know, part of it, I guess I can't diagnose. I'm not an animal communicator. I can tell you what contributes to it. We had spoken earlier in the show about my animal communicator friend that's what she does. She also deals a lot with nutrition and allergies and irritants. So, and I talked about my dogs being on a certain kibble that doesn't have chicken in it because one of the dogs is very sensitive to chicken. And so, and I've had cats forever. And I know especially some boy kitties have trouble with stones, and it can create an aversion to the litter box. And so they'll go outside the litter box because when you have stones, oftentimes the cat will associate the litter box with pain. And so I don't know if that's your cat, but I do get that there is layers contributing to what's going on with your kitty. But I am not a psychic, and I don't ever say I am, but I do healing. So I'm going to see what layer we can help that might help. But typically there are multiple layers. So let's see what Julius has going on with a trapped emotion. And sometimes trapped emotions that pets have, and I said this earlier, are from the owner. So I'm getting the energy of worthless. So let's see how old Julius was when this happened. I'm getting he was a kitten. So something happened when he was quite young. Because I think you said he was 7. So we're going to release that. Hold on, I'm having a hard time. So, and right after this, we'll talk about good luck, bad luck. So, with this is sort of a unique one. So, I'm getting worthless as a kitten, which is quite serious. But the positive emotion I'm getting is amused. So, I'm wondering if we release the energy of worthless, if he needs to take life a little less serious as a kitty. Because, you know, some kitties are fun and playful, and other kitties. Oh, he's 12. For some reason, I was thinking, oh, that was Rocket was 7. So, and you rescued him. And so I bet this happened before you rescued him. So, but I saw, I'll put my friend's information in, especially if what is happening with him is related to his body and diet. But she can also talk to him too. So it's my friend Patty. and I use her, especially when I had 4. I didn't always know what was going on with my pets or when they're starting to transition, and that's just the most awful thing. So we're going to release Worthless from Julius. And then we're going to instill Amused, which I think is more of instilling more of a sense of fun and lightening the seriousness of life, because that Worthless, yeah, I hope that helps. Yeah, she's pretty affordable. She and I sometimes do trades, but when I do pay her, she's, as I said, pretty affordable. I've tried other pet psychics, and some of them are super expensive. And I found I like what she tells me, especially we talk about brands and different types of proteins. I know my cat that died a year ago. He was eating rabbit, canned rabbit and dried rabbit, super expensive, but he lived till he was 16. So I've never had a cat live past 14, especially a kitty that he had urinary issues too. So that is our last individual healing pulse. We've done 3 of, yep, no, that was our last individual trapped emotion. We've done 3 healing pulses. So I want to talk about good luck, bad luck. So here's how I knew that something was wrong with my good luck button and my bad luck button. So it's been hot, hot, hot. And I am from Duluth, Minnesota, right next to Lake Superior. They have 2 sayings about towns like Duluth because they're so close to Lake Superior. It's cooler by the lake. That's what they say in the summer. And in the winter, it's warmer by the lake. So oftentimes in the summer when it's super hot elsewhere, it's not so hot here around Duluth. Well, I'm 3 hours south. I'm west of St. Paul, Minnesota. Or excuse me, not west, east. I'm in western Wisconsin. And when I got here, everything was locked up. It was so hot last night. It was so miserable. It's like awful. And that sort of fries my brain when I'm just hot and I can't sleep. So here's all the things that it took me a while to figure out my good luck and my bad luck were flip-flopped, because your good luck should always be on and your bad luck should be off. So I've been coming down here regularly, sometimes every week, sometimes every other week, and I'll spend 2 to 4 days. And then I'll go see my mom and dad. So my mom's 89, my dad's 91. They have their own condo. And previously to that, I'd come down every couple months, but they just need more help. And my sister lives in town, but it's a lot for her and her husband. So coming down, I forgot my laptop charging cord, and I knew I had this live tonight. So I thought, well, maybe if I don't use the computer, the battery will hold. Well, when I looked this morning, just to see, it said it would last 35 minutes. So that's not good. So last night, though, I drove to town, because this is out in the country, to a Walmart, and I bought a universal cord to charge. It had 10 different types of connections. It said I have an Acer gaming laptop. But unfortunately, none of the 10 fit. And so my sister works for a company that she gives laptops to employees, and the company is changing. So she's been collecting laptops to clear. So she said, well, you're just going to be accessing a browser. I'll give you one. So she gave me one. She lives like just down the road, a quarter of a mile. And so I went down, I got it, I came back, and she's like, you'll have to charge it. So I get home, it wouldn't charge. And at that point, I couldn't find my phone. My phone was gone. So then I finally realized that my good luck was off. So I wasn't getting any good luck. And my bad luck was on. So anything that could have gone wrong pretty much did. Although, in the greater scheme of things, these are all fairly minor, but together it was sort of overwhelming. So as soon as I flipped my good luck button on and I turned off the bad luck, I found my phone. And I went back to her house. She gave me 2 more computers and 2 more cords and said, try these. I found 2 that worked, and here we are tonight. Although I still wasn't able to connect with Facebook, but I couldn't connect last month either. So that's how I knew, although I think if it hadn't been so hot, I probably would have picked up on it sooner, but lack of sleep and when it's really hot, I don't think so good. So, does anyone want me to check their good luck, bad luck? Put a 5 in the comments if you do. And Anne Marie, I will check on yours too. Okay, so I got Lily. Rose petals. Viking. And Fafa. And I'll add Nick. And then we'll end tonight with, oh, and there's, ooh, it jumped. Susan Snyder. Susie. Okay, let me look and see if I missed anyone, just because all of a sudden it moved quick. Yes, Tug, I'm very impressed with you and your kids. I really like that. That's important. If I had been doing a daily check, I would have probably known days ago that I was flip-flopped. Okay, so Anne Marie, I'm getting good luck on, bad luck off. Lily, good luck on, bad luck off. Rose petals, good luck on, bad luck off. Viking, good luck on, bad luck off. Mfatha, good luck on, bad luck off. Nick, good luck on, bad luck on. So we need to flip that for Nick. Susan Snyder, good luck on, bad luck off. And Susie, good luck on, bad luck off. Yes. So everyone's good except for Nick. So we're going to flip Nick's bad luck off. You are welcome. All right, let's end with aura strengthening. And then for anyone that wants to stick around, I'll talk a little bit about my private sessions. So with aura strengthening, the fabulous thing about aura strengthening is it helps repel negativity. I think also if there are things that you want to work on, like some of these positive emotions, it's really wonderful to help fill up your bubble with good things. Tug of Light, you are exactly right. So, and for me, it took, because I was so distracted with my family and the heat and not sleeping, it took quite a few things to bring it into my awareness. But the nice thing is, once I got it, I mean, I found my phone immediately. So I was just in such a panic. So with the aura strengthening, what we're going to do is I want you to rub your hands together. If you want to add the healing pulse energies to this, you can, or you can just use your own frequencies. That's fine too. And so rub your hands together and start beaming the energy. Oh, sorry, Colette. Everyone keep beaming. Colette, you're good for both good luck and bad luck. So thanks for checking. And so with this, I want you to imagine your aura getting stronger and thicker and more protective. And usually I add a hint of reflectivity so that if someone's spewing negativity, at least some of it bounces back. Now, you don't want to do like a full mirror because you don't want people to run into you, especially when you're driving. So that's why I say hint of reflectivity. And then also think about, so you've got this bubble around you. What if you put something inside your bubble that will help you? What do you need today? So like, here's some of the words that people needed today. And pets too. We had a few pets. So we've got forceful, united, invincible, another united, focused, unique, invigorated, virile, flowing, valued, vital, invincible, and amused. So what if you put in, yes, I think, was it a day or two we went retrograde? So what if you put in those things that you need? Say you've got an important work presentation. What if you give yourself confidence and that ability to be able to communicate thoughts and emotions and positions in a very strong, helpful way? So I'm going to, well, first of all, I'm going to instill within me a sense of being cool, because if we can regulate our own temperatures, I would like to be about 10 degrees less than I am currently now. And then I would like to feel less tired. So did anyone watch Janine's, I think it was one of her Thursday things, where she talked about time and how time is so much faster than it ever used to be, even the clocks. And so then I was watching someone else who said that an average day is not 24 hours. it's condensed down to 12. Well, no wonder I'm exhausted if I'm trying to do everything, including sleep, in 12 hours. So I don't know if that's legit, because that seems like an extreme shrink. But think about it. If all the clocks are on the same wavelength, which I didn't really think about before. I had heard that time's running faster, but I didn't really think about the concept of what that means. But part of that means I'm always tired, which annoys me. So those are the things I think I want to instill within me. So thank you all for coming tonight. So I'm going to hang around a little bit and chat a little bit about my private sessions and some things I'm doing. And some people. So 27 hours in a 24-hour day. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And then, so Susan said 17. Okay. And it wasn't Janine, but it was someone else talked about 12. And I thought that just seems too much, although my exhaustion has seemed really extreme. Now, Denise says I cannot do in one day what I used to. So, yeah, and I think I vaguely recall Honey doing something, just saying something, but it was more general and more vague. So I catch about half of what Honey does, and with Janine, I mainly focus on her Thursdays. Yes, Colette, isn't it just sort of crazy? So yeah, so I'm just sort of fascinated by time. So in my private sessions, I often talk about time, because one of the things that comes up for people, so I have about 30 different tools. A session typically lasts an hour and 15 minutes, although sometimes we run long. There's no extra cost for that. The cost is $150 US. And so part of what you get for that is, so I initially, right before your session, and most of my sessions are online through Zoom. So with that, you get, so I'll send you a healing oracle card. And sometimes that card plays a huge role in your session, because sometimes it's sort of the theme for the session. Other times it's more of a reminder you should be doing this, or if you already are doing this, it's sort of a reminder to keep doing it. And so that's how I start. A person brings 3 things to their session that they want to work on. These things can be physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, or do I have them? There's like 5, and relationship based. And so they, if you've got pain, if you've got emotional things, if you're like, why isn't my business doing good? Or, things like that. So a huge amount of issues. And then I look for root causes. And so I've got about 30 different tools that I use for root causes. A lot of them are about emotions, but some are about emotions and past lives. And I don't really get into the past lives other than basics. And that's sort of fun, because especially if there is a little tether that connects you to a past life that is a negative thing, and if it's not beneficial, it's really helpful to snip that. But when I talk about past lives, I mean, past life, the language of it means in the past. But if you are one of those that thinks that time is now, everything is now, it's really hard to say past lives. And so I believe that there is really no time. But yet I talk about past life regressions, because I do I'm certified in the Dolores Cannon method, the QHHT, and also Beyond Quantum Healing. And I go back and forth on everything is now. Well, if everything is now, that means if you go into a different life, you can change things, which I love that concept. Someday I will probably work with exploring how to change those connections to this life that have really affected us and do healing. Currently, I mainly disconnect just because that's the quickest thing. And when I do that, I don't really get a lot of information because the most important part is the disconnection. Now, if I really wanted to do a lot more in depth, we would either do a QHHT session, which is hours and expensive. So my QHHT BQH sessions are usually $350. But with that, we spend an hour and a half doing an interview. And so the reason why that's important is because when you're under hypnosis, you want me to be able to know what's important to you, what's your background. If different things come up, I want to be able to ask questions that you want to know the answers to. And so that's part of spending all that time in the interview is so I also get additional questions that you want to know the answers to, which the most popular question people ask is, what's my purpose? And am I on the right track? Which is a pretty cool session. Part of the session, pretty cool. So there's that, but those are entirely different sessions. And then going back to my regular healing sessions. So I think I got distracted when I started telling you about my tools. And usually the hypnosis is a separate tool. Every once in a while, I'll get someone that I get blocked and I want to know why. So it does happen often, but sometimes I'll put them under just to find out what's going on. Why is this happening? But part of it typically is the person needs to know me and trust me because safety is an issue with hypnosis. But most of the time, it's pretty straightforward. We look for root causes, trapped emotions, but there can also be entities, which I never used to believe in entities, and now I'm a huge believer that entities, or sometimes that word freaks people out. So sometimes it's more about like spiritual bad energies. So especially if that comes up on a first session with a client that I don't know their background, sometimes I sort of don't really go into a lot of depth just because I know there's people that don't believe in that or think that it's all about evil, but it's not always. So there's lots of different tools that I use every session. Even if I met with the same person week after week, each session is typically different. I mean, the consistent things are we look for root causes, and I've got my list of 30 tools. And then in the end, if energy work has not come up during a session, and it's really rare for it to come up, and part of the reason for that is that energy work, which my training in energy work is Usui Holy Fire Reiki. I'm a Karuna Reiki master. And then Shambhala, I think I'm through 13D master level. Those are my two favorite tools. And then, of course, there's my personal healing frequencies. So these come from source. They're divinely guided. They don't come from me. They come through me. So I benefit from a session with these. And so when someone comes to me and says, these are the things I want to work on, usually energy work, maybe it can help, but maybe the divine has other priorities. And so if someone comes to me with a list and we only do energy work and they walk away with none of their issues being addressed, because energy work is sometimes subtle, it doesn't always give you answers, and sometimes it has totally different priorities. So what I've learned, and this makes me pretty unique, because most people do, I'm a Reiki master, and that's what you get. Or I'm an emotion code practitioner, and that's what you get. So with me, you get a whole bunch of things. But this is why I like to combine it. So the first part of the session is dealing with what you want. What's on your list? What are your priorities? And then usually the last 10 minutes of the session will be where I get them on the table, or if it's an online session, like most of them are, then I will share energy with them. And usually they just close their eyes and just relax. And it's pretty cool how many people allow themselves to feel the energy, because not everybody can. Most of the time, especially when I was starting, I couldn't. It's only more recently that I can really tune in. But it's the nice thing about that is, or the nice thing about energy work is, initially, we'll look for root causes, and sometimes I will fill the void right then, but oftentimes, especially since I know we're doing energy work at the end, I'll let Reiki do any healing around what we removed and released, because I never want someone to go away with a void created. And so that Reiki and other energy is fabulous for that. It's so amazing. So I'm going to just see, because I've been just chattering away. And so then after the 10 minutes of Reiki, then we'll sort of talk about what happened during the session and see if they have any questions. And then I tell them how many days of processing time. So an average person needs about 3 days to process what was released. And if it's more than that, that tells me that usually their session might have been a little bit more intense than I expected. So that's always interesting for me. And then about a week later, I will send them an email, check in on them, and see if they have any questions about their session or the tools used. And then some of them, I remind them that the changes can be subtle, because maybe what changed was triggers, and you don't always notice a trigger gone. I mean, you notice when you get triggered, but what if the trigger disappears and then you just don't experience it anymore? Sometimes it's like, oh, it's been weeks or months since I was triggered by this emotion or this situation. So then, so that's one of my little reminders. And then I also send them just a short little automatic writing. And usually it's something that's supportive, sometimes instructional. I never quite know what's going to come up, but it's sort of a cool thing. If you have any questions about my services, I do free consultations on Zoom. It's on my website, which is at csummerjones.com at the bottom of your screen. And so if you want to book a session or book a free consultation, feel free to do that. Lately, I'm not as available as I usually am, just because of time with my family. But I encourage you to sign up for an appointment or a free consultation. But tonight's been really fun. I'm just going to see. So people are going. Yeah, we've been going a long time. I've been chattering away. I think part of it's I'm alone in the house here. My family is either down the road or in town. Just seeing comments. So Lily says, would love a private session. However, I do not have PayPal or other payment system. I could do Zelle. I do Square for credit cards, if that's helpful, Lily. I do Venmo, if that's what you said, or other payment system. And I do Stripe. But if you let me know in advance, I can, like, I think the Stripe will process your credit card for you. You just need to let me know. So, oh, and Fatha says sessions are so worth it. Rose Petal says my session really helped me. Tug of Light, you found the tether from a past life punished on my 12-year-old's guts. He was staying too thin. He's really looking strong and healthy now that we have deleted that tether. Oh, Tug, that is so cool. Love that. Oh, and then Walter's night terrors have stopped after the healing. Oh, and here's Susan Snyder. Love Dolores Cannon. She started me on my spiritual journey back in 2012. Thinking about getting certified in QHHT with her daughter Julia. I've always wanted to get it. So something to look at QHHT, Susan Snyder, but also look at BQH, Beyond Quantum Healing. It's by Candace Crog Goldman, who worked with Dolores for many, many years. She was a level 3, if that's important to you. I started, and she's much more affordable as far as the cost of the training, and the training is better. So I signed up for Dolores Cannon stuff with her daughter Julia. Julia had very little to do with the training. It was all really old videos from when before Dolores died. And I got certified level 1 in 2022. So not that long ago. And so I was really disappointed in the quality of the materials. I mean, seeing Dolores, even though she had passed, 8-10 years when I was doing my training, I was still really impressed with her knowledge, but the quality just wasn't there. And Julia didn't step in and really make it better for me. So look into that. I mean, there is something for saying I like QHHT, but the BQH, everything, all the training videos are pretty amazing. It's a lot less money. But if you're looking to market yourself and do QHHT sessions, you probably want to spend that. I mean, usually the rates are about $1,000 for that, and I think the BQH is at like $300 or $400. And so I did both. And part of the reason for that is I think I was in my 3rd lesson with the Dolores Cannon method, and she came out and said no distance sessions. And if I had known that to begin with, I would not have signed up because most of my sessions are distance. And so taking that into account, that's her belief, even though she had been gone 8 to 10 years. And with COVID especially, things were changing about online being okay. I reached out to a Facebook acquaintance who said, I've been certified forever in QHHT. I've had over 500 clients. There's no issue with doing things online. But for me, ethically, I let people know that this is what Dolores says, and this is the additional training I've done. people from the BQH side have connected with Dolores, and from the other side, she has said distance is not an issue. And so she, from the other side, supposedly has changed her thoughts on that. So, but just some tips on what to look for in money. So I'm just looking to see if there's any other comments I need to explain. So Susan Snyder, and there's Susie. So Susan Snyder, Beyond Quantum Healing, BQH. Candace Craw Goldman. It should come up, and Craw is with a C. So I suggest you look through hers and look through the QHHT. Unless Julie has gone through and changed things. But when I did my training just a few years ago, she had not. And like when I'm helping a client prepare for their hypnosis session, I send them to the BQH pages because they have a whole section on how to prepare, all these videos on how to get the most out of your session, and things that are just super, super helpful. So explore both of those and see, because maybe BQH is a better fit for you, Susan. And on that note, I think I'm going to go. It's been a couple hours. So thank you for everyone being here. Again, feel free to, total brain blank, sorry, sign up for a free consultation, or if you just want a session, feel free to do that. I also do something called a why session, although with those, I sort of like to know the person before I do it. That is a dedicated hour and 15-minute hypnosis session. But it is a better session if I know you, because with that, I don't do the long interview. It's a lot of that is on you about what you want to know. So let me know if you have questions. I will see you next month, if not sooner. Have a good night. Bye.